So after 3 years of living in Thailand, I'd finally made a trip back to my home state of California. I returned to America after 3 long years, well, close to 3 years. But I came back to California because my best friend was getting married, and I had wanted to see how California would look like. You know, I've heard so many horror stories through the news and through friends that actually returned to America post-pandemic of how terrible the States was. Many cases like homelessness, crime, inflation, everything has gone up significantly. And to be honest, for me, all of this was all third-party news sources because, you know, living here in Thailand, living here for 3 years in this wonderful country, you had been so, how would I say this? When you live over here in Thailand, you don't hear anything of what's going on back home unless if you look for it. I don't know anything about news. I don't know anything about politics. I've been just living here in this wonderful country and being isolated away from all the BS and all the noise, which is a good thing. This is when ignorance is bliss comes into play, and it's actually a good thing. But I had to go back for my best friend's wedding. I had to see how everything was for myself, and let me tell you this. Being back in California, back in the States, it's kind of a shithole. It's not good at all. It is the month of August, it's rainy season, and it is still hot as shit here in Thailand. One of the things that you gotta get used to if you do decide to move to this wonderful country, it's freaking hot. All right, so one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is some of the changes that I've noticed being back in California, being back in America for these past 2 weeks. I've only heard it, you know, I've heard it from mostly my sister saying that crime has significantly gone up. First impressions, I landed in San Francisco International Airport. I was picked up, and my best friend picked me up, drove me through the highways and back to his home. And I don't know, the first impressions I got was that it just feels like there's no life in America. I felt like I was just kind of going through interstates and highways in these very desolate, dry lands with, you know, no life. Maybe it's because I've lived there my entire life, but that was one of the impressions I got, was that there was a lack of energy. And maybe that lack of energy has always attributed to when I've always lived there for the past 2-3 decades, or it's happened because of the post-pandemic. Everything seems so lifeless. Yeah, that was one of the impressions I got. It just felt so weird and seemed like the vibe was off. But most of the time I just spent with my best friend, just doing best man errands and getting him ready to get married. And that was a wonderful celebration. You know, it was great. It was wonderful. But kind of just going through different areas such as San Francisco and Oakland and Antioch. Those cities are completely plagued with homelessness now. It's not a good look. It's pretty effing terrible. There's definitely a lot more victimless crimes, a lot more theft, a lot more drug use. Opiate use is out of control. It's running rampant. Things are not good at all. And the way a lot of these politicians, a lot of the local government is running things over there, it's very leftist. They're proposing more social justice measures, more restorative justice, giving these criminals that they claim have underprivileged upbringings, you know, that they're at a disadvantage in life, which, you know, they probably are, you know, to make a fair point. And that since they come from not so great backgrounds, we should just give them a slap on the wrist. You know, they rob a couple designer stores, let them go, no big deal. So that type of governance is just completely out of control and a bit fucking insane. Even in my hometown, in my home city of Castro Valley, California, where I grew up, went to middle school and high school, lived there, had wonderful memories there in the 1990s. It was a very safe, boring, but safe suburban area to grow up and raise your family in. You know, I heard from my sister a lot of homicides were spilling over to Castro Valley, which is completely unheard of during my time when I grew up there during high school. So neighboring cities that I have known to have homicides are spilling over to places where are generally much more safe with a lot of suburban communities. So it's really shitty that crime has definitely gone up significantly much more. The prices have gone up significantly in California. California generally has always been a very expensive state, but I noticed that, going out for a meal, grabbing lunch or dinner in a group of 3 or more will run you at least roughly between $100 and $150 US. And it's not just California that's being affected by these sudden price increases. I did a two-day trip over to South Dakota to handle some tax stuff. By the way, it's gonna be up for an upcoming video. And I noticed that, I was talking to a lot of the locals in Rapid City, South Dakota, and they were saying that it's all over America that a lot of prices have gone up significantly, roughly by 20-30%. So that's definitely not good. And, just noticing the price performance and the price comparison between, back when I was in California in America 3 years ago compared to what it is today, you can definitely tell the prices have gone up significantly. And for people that don't have a side hustle, that aren't working on a passion project, that don't run their own business, that are working 9 to 5 for a company, they're definitely feeling the effects of this. Cost adjusted compared to inflation and how much money they're making, they can't keep up with inflation. It's just out of control. It's insane. And I just feel god awful because as much as I disagree with California politics and the politicians that run that state, I do have a lot of family and friends that I deeply care about that still live in California, and they're all being affected by this. It's hard for them to buy homes in California, homes in some of the areas that I grew up in. Now, back then they were running around 500 to 600,000 US. In some of the more affluent neighborhoods, they're running for 1.2, 1.3 million. A lot of my friends would need assistance from their parents in order to put down a down payment for their home. And the homes, they don't even look anything that spectacular. They're just regular homes, regular looking, average looking homes that cost between $1.1 to $1.2 million. It's fucking crazy. But I think the final point that I really wanted to make is that it just seems like everybody I talked to these past 2 weeks when I was back in California, back in America, was that it just seems like everybody's just existing. Or maybe that's part of adulthood, that people just exist. There are people that either strive significantly, that are out traveling, doing a bunch of crazy things, starting businesses, meeting people, networking, and then there are people that just go to their 9 to 5 job and simply just exist. I've noticed this when I was talking to a lot of my sister's neighbors. They were telling me about their frustrations with their work, that their company demanded 200% of them. They wanted to slave and give company loyalty. And a lot of them were just completely unhappy with that type of treatment, with their employees. Things have gotten a lot more expensive, according to their end. And this just seems so brutal and so desolate. I caught up with a few friends, that I've known since I was 16, 17 at my best friend's wedding. And, it was good seeing them. I've known them for more than 20 years, but I think it's gotten to the point in our adult lives where, after the first 5-10 minutes of catching up, I don't really have anything to talk to them about with. I'm running out of things to speak with them. It's not like I can share with them my travel experiences of wanting to travel all over Asia and upcoming trips to Eastern Europe and Western Europe and Central Asia, talking about some things that they're pursuing, some goals that they're pursuing. It's just like, yeah, I just found a new job. I moved into this apartment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It seems like they're just getting by, the ones that are feeling frustrated, I would offer them, some advice about, what, you guys are stuck in a routine. Why don't you spend a summer living in this country and sending your kids to a summer program at this specific country? Trying to offer them options, and a lot of them were pretty receptive to it. And then there were others that were just like, I'm fine with just existing, not really caring. It's part of life with them. And, it just seems like in America, and now more than ever, people are at a point in their lives where they need to survive because everything is so damn expensive that they generally don't have any creative freedom to pursue a passion project or to start up a side business or anything. Everybody is on survival mode. So it just really fucking sucks for them. I sympathize with that. That blows. And after 2 weeks of, being in California, seeing my best friend get married, going to South Dakota to handle tax stuff, which by the way will be for an upcoming future video, and then coming back and spending time with family, 2 weeks was more than enough for me to be back in California. And at that point I was like, it's good catching up with you, and it's not gonna be a while until I come back to California. Best of luck, good luck, but my heart and my life belongs to Thailand. I'm just much more happier here. I have more in common with my friends here in Thailand because everybody's always pursuing more to improving themselves. Granted, we like to party once in a while, although I don't do it as much. Maybe just a little bit. But yeah, I'm glad I found Thailand. Thailand has overall made me a much better person, physically, mentally, financially, community-wise, network-wise. I've only improved and gone up with the people that I've met here in Thailand. And I am forever grateful that I decided to move here 3 years ago and to meet the wonderful people that I've met so far and to connect with you guys here on my YouTube channel. So I love each and every one of you guys. I apologize for, this long break that I've had for putting out content. Was a bit nervous getting back to see how California is for these past 3 years, and I'm just grateful that I made the right decision to leave 3 years ago. But hey, what the hell do I know? I'm just some random Chinese American guy that lives in this Southeast Asian country known as Thailand. Anyways, stay safe, take care, love you guys. See you guys in the next video. Peace. Take care. Bye-bye.